welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today's video is going to be an experience video, or more so like a big sister advice or just like a chat kind of video. I wanted to sit down and share with you guys my experience taking birth control because I took it for about 7 years. I started taking it in high school and I took it for 7 years and I'm currently off of it. So I wanted to do a whole video telling you guys my experiences, the pros, the cons, what I personally experienced, because it's gonna be so different from the next person, but hopefully this video is helpful to you if you're interested in taking birth control, if you want to learn more about it, or if you are currently on it and just want to know some more facts. So I'm going to be sharing all of that in today's video. If this is the first video you're seeing of me, I hope you guys subscribe, stay a while, join the fam, check out my other videos, and you guys can also check out my Instagram if you want to. It's Miss Mikayla G. I think that's about it. Let's go ahead and get started. My shirt does in fact say Wildcats and I'm pretty happy about it, and also I didn't want to do my hair today, so that's why this is all happening. Besides the point, let's get into the video. So I'm going to start at the very beginning, and I actually started taking birth control, I think it was the summer before I started high school, so the summer before grade 9 or during grade 9, I'm not really sure, but I was dealing with severe acne, and at the time it was like really detrimental onto my insecurities, and it was just a really big problem. I had tried so many different things from the doctor. P.S. Accutane was not a thing when I was dealing with all this, or at least I didn't know about it then, and neither did my doctors. And so I had tried all the topicals, the different antibiotics and different things like that, and we basically tried everything except for possibly trying birth control. And it was actually my mom that suggested it because she had taken birth control when she was my age at the time for her acne, and so we figured that it would probably work really well for me. And obviously it was kind of funny going to the doctor and seeing if that would be an option, because she's like, "Are you sexually active?" And I'm like, "Hell no." So that was interesting, but basically it was my mom that suggested it, and I signed up, I got a prescription and I started taking birth control, and I was on Yasmin. I know that there's Yasmin, and then like Aless was like the three main ones that we had, and I went on Yasmin because that was the best one that had the highest percent for acne or something. Since I wasn't using it to be sexually active, I was purely using it for my acne, so that's kind of why we chose the one we did. And so I basically took that until like a year and a half ago basically, and it cleared my acne pretty well instantly, which was such a miracle. As you guys can imagine, having really bad acne in high school is the worst, and it's so annoying and frustrating, especially when you just don't know what is causing it or how to fix it. And so that's why I was so happy. Of course I did still get breakouts here and there from certain things I ate and that time of month and like all these other things. Don't worry, I definitely still had acne, but my skin was seriously so much better. I could not believe how fast it cleared up and how good my skin was, and I'm so grateful for that during my high school life, because I honestly don't know what I would have done if I had really bad acne. There were so many other things going on in my life that I'm just really happy that that wasn't really one of my main concerns in high school. At least that's what I can remember. It was a while ago. So everything was fine and dandy. I was taking the pill somewhat every single day at the same time because I wasn't using it for having sex. It really wasn't an important thing necessarily for me to take it at the same time every single day, which is really horrible, but honestly that's what I did. I tried to take it before school or after school. It was really hard for me to figure out what time would be best because I didn't want kids seeing me take the pill in class and be like, "Oh, are you having sex?" I was like, "Homegirl's not." So yeah, that was the thing that I had to deal with. And also looking back on it now, my boobs definitely grew when I first started taking it. That was something that I definitely noticed. However, the weight gain wasn't super apparent for me, but I do know now looking back that I definitely did gain a little bit of weight from starting the pill. But for me personally, I'd rather have clear skin and a little bit of extra fluff here and there, so that was totally fine for me. And again, in the moment I definitely didn't notice it because it was super gradual and very minimal. Another thing that I didn't really utilize a whole lot in the first couple of years of me taking birth control consistently was the fact that you can actually skip your period, because I was a little afraid of messing with my cycle, and so I never really skipped it. Even though you can just like miss the placebos and just start taking your pills the next time. Obviously the doctor doesn't recommend doing this all the time, but it is good if you're going on vacation or have a dance performance or something like that. So that was really handy about taking birth control that I definitely miss. A couple more pros that I wanted to throw in there about taking the pill is the fact that you do know when your period is, and for me it definitely lessened my period symptoms. I had way less cramps, although I had only had my period probably for like 2 years before I started taking birth control, so I was still quite young and wasn't getting the full symptoms, but my cramps were way less. I never understood why or how people could be in so much pain with their period. I'm like, it's really not that bad, guys. I was stupid, because it is. So my period symptoms were lessened. I could know when my period was coming, which was amazing. I could skip my period, and I had clear skin. Smooth sailing, right? Until I stopped taking it. So I actually stopped taking it for about a month and a half. I think this was in college, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go off of it and see how my body reacts. My skin flared up instantly, like absolutely instantly. It was so frustrating because I was like, oh gosh, now I have to go back on it. I did end up losing a bit of weight that month, which was kind of crazy, and that's pretty much all I noticed. And so after the month and a half, I'm like, I can't do this anymore, my skin's too bad, I'm going back on it. I actually ended up trying a different birth control. I think I went with a less, and I tried that for a couple months, and I really just didn't like the way my body was reacting. My body had been so used to the one I was taking, so it just didn't make sense to take this other one, and I had heard a few things in the news about this one, so I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go back to my regular one. So that's what I did, and basically when I restarted taking that, that's basically when I did need to be a little more strict with taking it at the same time every single day, if you know what I mean. So I had to be more strict with that, which I found kind of difficult, having been so like fluctuating with it basically. So I had to be more strict with that, although it was a great security when I was starting to be sexually active, because I was really afraid of being pregnant, and I still am. So it's one of those things I kind of always had in the back of my head, like I need to take this, it's very important. So along with that having to be a thing, I also noticed that I did gain a little bit of weight back. My skin did clear up, which was great. But I also had some symptoms of depression, which I didn't realize at the time. I kind of just blamed it on the weather and where we were living, but I definitely think the pill had something to do with it, unfortunately. But I didn't really notice that until I went off of it. And also just, I think it did affect my sex drive. I know that's TMI, but I really do think that it hindered that, because once I came off of it, I felt a lot better about that stuff. Super TMI, but that's the truth. It does affect that, and I googled that to be a symptom, and it totally is. So basically, with all these things happening, I was also getting severe headaches, and that is something that I just totally thought was hereditary. My uncle gets it, my mom gets it, and they kind of are, but probably not to the extent that I experienced for those 7 years, because I had the worst headaches. Like when people would be at home in bed with cramps from their period, I would be at home because I have a migraine. It was so bad, and I used to get them with the waves. So if you guys have ever had a migraine that you like see things like moving, or there's like lights and stuff, it's crazy. It's so painful, and some days I couldn't do anything. I had to lay in bed in a dark room, and nothing would fix it. So it was kind of crazy when I came to the conclusion that I wanted to actually go off birth control and really, you know, try it out maybe for a year and see how my body reacts, because to be honest, I didn't really know what my actual body was like, because I had been on birth control and had hormones in me for so long, 7 to 8 years, which is basically most of my adult life. And so I really did not know what my natural cycle was, what my natural skin would be at this age, and just like overall how my natural body would be. And so I kind of got to thinking, I also had this fear in the back of my mind that taking birth control now and for so long would affect my future of having kids. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stop. And basically I was also forced to stop, because I went to a new doctor and I was telling her about my medical history and all the things, and telling her about my birth control and how I do like it for my skin, but I would like to try going off of it. And she actually did some little research, and she asked me if I get headaches with aura, which is the ones with the waves and stuff. And I said, yeah, I've had a couple of those in the past. And she's like, I actually can't prescribe you this birth control because you're at a really high risk of stroke, which I was super shocked at, because I had been on this birth control for so long through a couple doctors, and they completely were fine prescribing it to me, and I really didn't think that it affected that. And she's like, yeah, I really can't do that. You're at a really high risk because you get those certain types of headaches. So I was like, okay. In that moment, I was a little panicked, because when it's not yourself choosing your fate, it's kind of a little bit harder to handle and deal with. So the fact that someone else was like, nah, you can't take it, I was like, oh, okay, that really stinks. And I guess this is just what I have to try out. I mean, obviously there's other forms of birth control. I could take an IUD, I could get a shot. All those things really scared me though, because taking a pill every single day is so much easier than all of those things, in my opinion. But it basically forced me to stop taking it. So now flashing forward to pretty much present day, I went off of birth control probably a year and a half ago, and my body is still regulating out, I think. Personally, that's what I think. I don't really know how long it actually takes. Instantly, my skin actually didn't flare up as much as I thought, which was kind of crazy because I was so positive my skin was going to flare up, and it really didn't, so I was really, really happy about that. Basically, in terms of other symptoms, I'm still getting new period symptoms that I've never felt before, like tender boobs and like my cramps. It depends on the month, but sometimes they are really bad that I do have to stay in bed, and that just is not normal to me because I never really experienced that taking the pill for so long. And so all these little things are coming up. However, one of the biggest ones that I've noticed, and it took me a few months to realize, but my headaches went away. Most of the time I can judge what the headache is, and it's either dehydration or lack of food or like certain things. I can really pinpoint it now, and I know how to get rid of them, and they're not nearly as horrible as they once were, and it's kind of a miracle. I did not realize how much taking birth control really affected that one thing, which is so great because I love not having headaches anymore. And it's actually kind of funny because I used to take Advil all the time for headaches, and like it was just kind of a known trait about me. It's like, Mikayla always has headaches. It's true. I'm always like rubbing my hand to get rid of my headache and different things like that. And sometimes I even have to I could not even tell you the last time I had a headache. That was that bad. So, you know, unless I'm drinking. So that's a whole nother thing. But the fact that I don't just randomly get headaches anymore is so great, and I'm so thankful for that. But when it comes to cons about not taking birth control anymore, I have literally no idea when my period is coming, and I've never had to deal with that. I always knew when it was. I could skip it. It was so easy, and now I really just don't know when it's gonna pop up. Obviously, I have an app that I track my period and stuff on, which is great, super helpful, highly recommend if you guys are interested. I'll link the one I use down below. That's really great and all, but it still is super unknown. I feel like my cycle hasn't really, you know, regulated since going off birth control. I have an idea, and it's starting to get a little bit better now, but it definitely did take a while. And like I said, I still am learning new symptoms that are coming up, and I can also just like tell when I'm gonna get my period, depending on my mood and just how I react to things. Sorry, Cody. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to mention. I know that was like a lot of information, but hopefully you guys found it helpful, and let me know if you guys have taken birth control, what kind of birth control you guys are currently taking, because I'm super curious. Like I said, I'm really scared of an IUD, but I know a lot of people love it because homegirl's not trying to get pregnant right now, if you know what I mean. So anything you guys have to share in the comments down below would be super helpful. Also for the people watching this video, if they want to learn more about, you know, some other forms of birth control and also just other people's experience taking the pill, definitely leave that down below, because I think that'd be super helpful and really open up the conversation about it, because it's something I didn't really think people would wanna listen to, or maybe it's just not something people are interested in anymore, but it's such a thing, you know? We all are trying to not get pregnant unless we're trying to get pregnant, you know? So I think it's important to talk about. And on one last note, I just wanted to mention that since going off birth control, I have been way more in tune with my own body, which I would say I'm really good at being in tune with my body anyway, but even more so now, I can really feel when things are coming up, or like what the cause of certain things are, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't, but I'm really happy with how my body has regulated, like losing the weight, having my skin. I mean, obviously I have breakouts here and there, but I can generally know what those are from, and I still break out like when it's my time of month and different things like that, new skincare, new diet, that kind of thing. But it's a lot more manageable now, and it's way more manageable than I thought it would be going off of the pill. And at this point in time, I'm not really looking to go back on the pill. I still want to give it a couple years, possibly more. I don't even know if I'll ever go back on it, but I'm really, really happy with my decision up until now. Like all of the factors that I had, even with the headaches, even with like a little bit of weight gain, I was really happy taking the birth control pill when I did. It's kind of funny because I mostly just used it for other symptoms versus using it for protection, but I think that's totally okay, and I really wouldn't change anything. Obviously now I'm a little bit more mature, and I'm starting to think about having kids and stuff, you know, in a few years or many years, and so I don't think that taking the birth control pill right now is right for me, but I am definitely glad I did have that experience, and it helped me for what it needed to do back then, if that makes sense. And I definitely sit in the middle whether birth control is good or bad. It totally depends on your body and how you react to it and your medical history, and obviously this is all something that you need to discuss with a doctor, but I hope that me giving you my personal experience on it was helpful to you guys today. And if you did like the video, give it a thumbs up because it really helps my channel and gets this video seen by more people, hopefully. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Have a great day. Bye.